Hi and welcome to Edwards Motorhomes. Today we're going to do a handover video for you on this 2022 model Roller Team Zefiro 696. Really hope you find it informative. So what we're going to do, we're going to start on the outside of the vehicle and we're going to work our way in. So we're going to start off with the key. If you press the silver button at the top, out comes your ignition key. Top button there will unlock your cab doors, middle button will lock your cab doors. Bottom button, in all fairness, doesn't do anything, so I wouldn't worry about it. Inside the passenger door, we have access for your fuel just there, and underneath here, we have your AdBlue filler. Now, I'd always advise you take some AdBlue with you. If you do run low, you don't want to be in the middle of nowhere and nowhere to fill up. Next, of course, we have your habitation door, and new for this season, we have the awning light just above. Fridge vents here and here. And then we have your cassette toilet. Now, if you've never used a cassette toilet before, the first thing to tell you is, when you go into the bathroom, we'll look at this later on, you have a blade on the top of the toilet. And there's a grey handle underneath. Now, it means that that blade has to be closed for you and allow you to take the cassette out of the vehicle. And to do that, you have this blue handle just there, and you just pull it out. Now, any campsites will have what they call an Alson point on their own. An Alson point is where you'll dispose of your waste. So, unclip from here, you roll that to the Alson point, take the blue top off, press the blue button at the back and then flush away. Once you've done that, flush out with a hose, press the button again, flush away, put your new chemical, blue or green, directly into the cassette. Don't put it down the toilet. It is very strong and it will stain. Now, the other thing to bear in mind as well is toilet paper. You want to use either camping toilet paper or you want to use cheaper toilet paper. Don't use this triple quilted stuff. What will happen is it won't break down properly. It'll be a big ball of mess in there, and that's really not a pleasant job trying to clean out. Once you're done, pop that back in there. Here we have the flue for your heating, just there. Now you will notice on this window, just here, you have a sensor. Now that's because the vent is directly below. It will mean that if you've got your heating on and this window open, the heating won't come on. That window will have to be closed. Then we have your storage area at the rear. Now, you have a light in here, and we also have a 230 volt socket for when you're plugged into the mains. You do have access from both sides. On the back, of course, we have your bike rack. We have your reverse camera, and underneath the van we do have your spare wheel. Coming around this side, again, access to your storage area. Just here we have your electric hookup point. Now you'll see there's a black catch in there which you do have to drop down before you can release. Storage for your gas cylinders and your pigtail. And directly underneath here we have the drain for your wastewater tank. So just here with this handle, and you just pull that out when you go over a grid and it will drop down the contents straight through. And here we have your fresh water. So pop the hose in there and fill up. You can't overfill. There is a reservoir. If you go too far, it'll start to drain down. Let's have a look inside. In the cab, if we start off over here on the driver's door, you have your electric front windows. Then of course here we have your wing mirrors. So again, you just flick to which wing mirror you want to adjust and use the joystick. Move left, right, up or down. Lights are over here. Here we have your Bluetooth controls for your radio and also for your telephone, and over here we have your cruise control. Now here, if we pull this out and drop down, we have your holder for your mobile phone or your tablet, and of course here we have your media center. Heating controls just here, along with your air conditioning, and of course this particular vehicle does have the 6-speed automatic gearbox. The dinette in this particular vehicle is for 5 people. Now, the table drops down to become the base of your 5th berth, and your 5th seat is just here. Now, you'll see just there, you have your 3-point seat belt. Pop that to there, and it literally comes across like so. As for the bed, now you get these extra 2 cushions. It's actually quite a simple job to do. Just here, you've got this handle. Now, that handle means you can move this table to wherever you want it. So you get it basically into the right place. Then you have a black push button for your foot, just there. Press on that, push down in the centre. Once it starts going, it's fine. And then you've got to use the handle just to get into the right position to push this down. Once you've locked it in place, you take the two cushions, like so, and there we have your fifth berth. We're now going to access your fresh water tank, which is an onboard tank. But also, while we're doing that, when you're travelling with an extra two people in the back, what you'll need to do is remove this piece here. So again, it then gives you leg room. Seat belts are just behind the seat. Now, for the purposes of what we're going to do now, we're going to remove this cushion. And underneath here, we have your fresh water tank. Now you'll see there are two bungs in there. One's out at the moment because we've opened up the tank. One's slightly higher. The bottom one is to drain down completely your water tank. The top one, that's your travel drain. So that will allow you around about 15-20 litres of water for when you're travelling, if you need to use the toilet or do some washing up. To access your electric bed, first of all, you must make sure you've got your 12 volt on, but we'll come to that in a moment. But literally, it's a very simple case of just pressing this button here, the bed drops down. Now, it will take a maximum capacity of 250 kilograms, so it's a very good weight. Now, it'll come down to this point. Underneath, we have these nets. And these nets, you can see, can lock either side into the roof lining, meaning that you're not going to roll out in the middle of the night. You can leave your quilt on there. What you don't want to do is leave pillows and things on, because what will happen is when you put this back up, it'll think somebody's still in the bed, and it will then blow a fuse as a safety precaution. Now, if that does happen, you'll see just here, you have like an Allen key. Now, we have an adapter that comes with the van that just pops into there, and you can wind the bed up or down manually. Don't get me wrong, it's not the quickest job in the world, and you're probably better to take some fuses with you so you can replace the fuse that you've blown. So now we're going to look at accessing your leisure battery, your fuses, your gas isolator switches, and your trip switches. So underneath this fifth passenger seat, which I've already taken the cushions off, you can see we have your leisure battery and we have your fuses. Now if we go into the kitchen, underneath the oven just here, you'll see your trips and you'll see your gas isolators just there. In your kitchen, we have 3 gas hobs, so obviously your gas must be turned on to be able to access these. We have your oven and grill. If you're using the grill, just make sure that you pull this piece out slightly so again the heat doesn't come up and end up melting your dials. Obviously, as we've just seen, underneath here we have your trip switches and your gas isolator switches, and your isolator switches are there again if you were to have a gas leak on a particular appliance. You can isolate just that one. And here we have a lot of storage, and of course we have your cutlery tray just there. And then we have your 3-way fridge freezer. Now to turn the 3-way on, you press the button just there. And then this button here will give us our options. So we're going to press that till it flashes. Now by using the left or right button, we can pick between auto, electric, battery or gas. For these purposes, we pop it on auto, so you press that button again. And then you have your temperature, which you can move up or down depending on what you want. Press it again and then it's set. Now, when it comes to your options, electric is obviously when you're plugged into the mains on 230 volt. Gas is when you're wild camping and you're running off the gas. Battery is the one that tends to confuse people because you would assume battery means leisure battery. It doesn't. The vehicle must be running because it will be running off your vehicle battery. And as soon as you turn the engine off, it will then stop. Now what should happen then is that little blue light will turn red and it will tell you that you've got a fault. Now, if you've got it on auto, it should adjust for what you're doing and when. So hopefully that should be the best one for you, and it should make sure you don't have any problems. So new for 2022 is this control panel. Now this has taken the place of the old 12 volt control panel and the Truma gas and electric heating panel. Now how it works is you press the home button just there. and then you unlock the screen. Now it's going to give you these options. So if we go onto resources first of all, if we want to fill it with water, so what we would do now is we press refill. Now as you can see, it's telling you that the sensor will let you know when you've finished refilling the tank. So we're going to pop refill finished, just there. And now we're going to go back to the home screen. Next one is your room temperature. So we pop on there. So we want heating. You literally can go up or down depending on what temperature you want. You can put it on fast, you can put it on comfort. Then you pick your option for how you're going to use it, whether that be on gas or on electric. You can have it on both at the same time if you're plugged into the mains and you've got your gas running. If we go back, we're just going to turn it off for now. If we go back on there, now we can do ventilating. Now this basically means that you're just venting through the van without the heating on, and you can just turn that up to the number 10, and that will just push air through your system. Next one will be your warm water. If we pop on there and turn on, now this works very much like your heating. First of all, we have a choice of between 40 degrees and 60, and then we have a choice of gas or electric, and by again pressing on them you can have gas and electric, or you can just have the one. We're going to go back again and turn that off for now. Down the bottom here we have your switches. So again, to turn your awning light on, your interior lights do all have their own panels as well. So again, they'll have the switches all over the place, but ones you've left on, when you press your interior, they'll come on automatically. Then we have your water pump. Again, you'd press that to pop your water pump on. We'll go back. So again, if we pop onto switches, just again, those are the only three on there at the moment. Next we have notifications. Now that will really be if you've done something wrong, if there's an issue with the system, pop on there and it will tell you exactly what that is. Turn off, of course, is to turn off the system. If we go to the next one, your iNet app is just there, and here we have your settings. So your settings, again, you can change your date and time, or going on to your general, you can change your language, the brightness of the panel, the device manager, reset to factory settings, calibrate the system, and again, open the source. And that's new for 2022. To access your boiler when you need to drain that down, it works in two ways. Now, the easiest way to see it is under the bed. Now, if we raise this up, there's a false panel just here under your storage. So we're going to take that out. Now, obviously this will stay up far easier once we've got the coverings off the mattress. Now I'm going to go into the garage because you'll see there's an area here which you can get to from your garage area, which is easier to actually get to the boiler drain. So your boiler drain is just here. Now you see you've got this blue top on. Now down this side there's a little blue button. Now I'm not sure if you can see, but it's popped out at the moment. Now that means your boiler's open. So any water that you pump through your system, it's going to come directly into your boiler and pour straight out onto the floor. So what we want to do is turn this a quarter of a turn and then press that little button in. Now what that will do is, again, once you've got water in your fresh water system, you fill it up, you turn your water pump on, come through your boiler, it's now going to go through and into your taps, where if that's open, it's just going to pour straight down onto the floor. Now this particular system has a safety. So if the temperature gets down to 2 degrees or below, what will happen is that the little blue button will pop out and any water that's in your system will drain down so it doesn't damage the boiler. Next we're going to be talking about priming your system and draining your water systems down. Now when you're priming your system, the first thing you need to do is go to your fresh water tanks, make sure that they're sealed, you've got the bungs in, so when you start putting your water in, it's not going to pour out all over the floor. Once you've done that, you go to your 12-volt control panel and you press the button to tell it that you're filling it with water. Once you've filled it with water, the next thing you need to do is go to your boiler. Make sure that little blue button's in, so again, you're not then going to put your water pump on and it's going to go straight through to your boiler and drop down all over the floor. So once you've got your fresh water done in your tank, your boiler's sorted, great. The next thing is open up your taps. Once you've opened up all your taps, you pop on your water pump. Now, when you put on your water pump, for the first few seconds, it's going to cough and splutter at you as it's expelling the air from the system. Once it starts running smoothly, you can then knock your taps off, and if you wish, you can also knock off your water pump. When it comes to draining the system down, you're working basically in reverse. So again, to start off with, you take your bungs out of your fresh water tank, you drain down your waste from outside. You then hit the switch on the boiler to pop that little blue button out, so you drain the water down from there. Now, usually I would say don't put your water pump on if you've got no water in your system, but just for a few seconds pop it on, so any water that's left in your pipes, you can expel that, so you're not leaving water in there over the winter. One more thing to discuss when it comes to your water systems is your boiler and your hot water. Now, I know this will probably sound obvious, but you must put water into your boiler before you can try to heat the water, or otherwise you can damage the elements. Now, how you'll do that, of course, is first of all to make sure that your boiler is sealed, so it's not going to drop down on the floor. When you pop your water pump on, it's going to make like a burring noise. Once that stops, you've filled up your boiler. At that point, you'll then be safe to heat up the water. So now we're going to talk about your windows, we're going to talk about your fly screens, we're going to talk about your blinds, and we're also going to talk about your skylights. Now, with your skylight just here, first thing, you pop just there, raise it up. Underneath, you have your fly screen and you have your blind. Very important, when you are travelling, that must be closed, same as your windows. So with your windows, you've got these little buttons, and you just press in there, all the way along, push out, and then you tighten it, and you got it in the right position. Again, fly screen, blind, when you bring them back, when you're travelling, button, press in. I know I keep saying it, but it is very important. If you decide to leave one of these open or do it by accident, you will find that it will catch the wind and it will be gone, and it's not cheap to replace them. Now, when we're talking fly screens as well and not cheap to replace, you do have a fly screen on your habitation door just here, but be careful, because if your habitation door catches the wind, that slams. The bin will go straight through into it and damage your fly screen. So now we're going to look at your shower cubicle and your toilet. Now, the first thing obviously with your shower is, again, you must have water in your system, and hopefully you've warmed it up so it's not going to be freezing cold. But then it just works like your taps at home. You just literally turn them on and out comes the water. You do have the screens that will come around you, so you unpop there. These pop out. It's probably slightly easier when you're in the shower, but that will come across to there and it just locks into place like so. Again, when you're travelling, make sure that you put them back properly, or they will rattle and drive you mad. Now, in the toilet, of course, we have your wash basin just there, but what I really want to show you is the toilet itself. Now, the first thing is, the toilet seat does swivel, so you can get into the most comfortable position. Now, when we were outside, we were talking about the blade. Now, as you can see, the blade is shut, which allowed us to take the cassette out. Your grey handle is here, so you just push that way to open, pull it back to close. In all fairness, the only reason you want it open is if you're using the toilet. Apart from that, keep it closed. Your electric flush is just there, which again, you must have your water pump on. And just behind here, you'll see that green light. Now that's telling you the cassette's empty. If that turns red, your cassette's full. And there we have this quick handover video for you on this 2022 model Roller Team Zefiro 696. Really hope you found it informative and it's helped with a few questions you may have. Thank you very much for watching.